Not everyone who steps out looking spotless has a spotless home. Take Sarah, for example. In the bright sun of the bustling neighborhood, she was a vision of elegance. Her white blouses were always crisp, her skirts hugged her figure perfectly, and her hair gleamed under the sun like a polished crown. She'd smile at everyone she passed, leaving a trail of expensive perfume and envy in her wake. But if walls could talk, the ones in her home would scream. Here's the story of Paul, a hardworking man who learned that not all that glitters is gold. Paul first met Sarah at a family friend's wedding. She was the life of the party, her laughter ringing out like a bell. She moved with confidence, commanding attention with every word and gesture. Paul, a simple accountant, stood at the edge of the crowd, sipping his drink, but his eyes never left her. Later that evening, Paul found himself seated next to Sarah. She greeted him with a dazzling smile. "You must be Paul. I've heard about you from my cousin," she said, her voice warm. Paul blushed. "And you must be Sarah. I've heard a lot about you too." They talked for hours, and by the end of the night, Paul was smitten. Sarah seemed perfect, beautiful, smart, and charming. They exchanged numbers, and their relationship blossomed quickly. Paul didn't question why they always met at cafes, parks, or Paul's apartment. When he suggested visiting her place, Sarah would laugh and say, "Oh, Paul, my place is a mess. I wouldn't want you to see me like that." To Paul, it was endearing. He assumed she was simply shy or embarrassed. He had no idea what he was walking into. Within 6 months, they were married. Paul felt like the luckiest man alive. But reality hit the moment they returned from their honeymoon. Paul's first shock came on their third day back home. He had just returned from work, exhausted but excited to see his new bride. As he stepped into the house, the first thing that hit him was the smell. A pungent mix of stale food and unwashed laundry hung in the air. "Sarah," he called, trying to keep the concern out of his voice. "In the bedroom," came her cheerful reply. Paul walked in to find Sarah sprawled on the bed in her pajamas, a half-eaten bag of chips beside her. The room was in disarray. Clothes littered the floor, the bed was unmade, and a pile of laundry overflowed from the corner. "Long day?" Sarah asked, her eyes glued to the TV. Paul hesitated. "Yeah, what about you? Did you get around to unpacking?" Sarah waved dismissively. "Oh, I've been so tired. I'll do it tomorrow." Tomorrow came and went. Paul returned from work to find the house in the same state. The dishes from their first meal back still sat in the sink, crusted with food. The trash hadn't been taken out, and the laundry pile seemed to grow by the hour. Paul tried to remain patient. "Sarah, we need to clean up. The house is starting to smell." Sarah yawned. I know. I'll get to it." She didn't. Days turned into weeks, and the mess became part of their daily life. Paul's routine now included working long hours, then coming home to clean, cook, and do laundry. He'd often find himself scrubbing the bathroom late at night, while Sarah lounged in the living room, scrolling through social media. One evening, Paul came home to find Sarah sitting on the couch, her hair unkempt, wearing the same pajamas from 3 days ago. The kitchen was a war zone. Dishes piled high, food splatters on the counters, and the trash can overflowing. "Sarah, what's going on?" Paul asked, exasperated. "Why is everything such a mess?" Sarah shrugged. "I've been busy." "Busy doing what?" Sarah gave him a look. "Relax, Paul. You're so uptight. It's just a little mess." Paul felt his patience fraying. "Sarah, this isn't a little mess. The house is falling apart. I need your help." Sarah rolled her eyes. "Fine, I'll clean tomorrow." But tomorrow was always just out of reach. Despite the chaos at home, Sarah never stepped out looking less than perfect. Every morning, she'd spend hours in front of the mirror, carefully applying her makeup, straightening her clothes, and spraying her signature perfume. At social gatherings, she was the epitome of grace. She'd laugh and chat with the neighbors, who admired her poise and beauty. "She's such a classy woman," one neighbor remarked. "Paul is so lucky." But the neighbors started noticing something strange. Mrs. Echoe, the neighborhood gossip, often saw Paul taking out the trash late at night or washing dishes through the kitchen window. Whispers began to spread. "Have you noticed Paul always looks tired? I heard their house is a disaster. Sarah's just pretending to be clean." The gossip reached Paul, and though he tried to ignore it, the shame was unbearable. One Friday, after an especially grueling day at work, Paul returned home to find the house in even worse condition. The kitchen sink was overflowing with dishes, the floor was sticky, and Sarah was nowhere to be found. He called her, and she answered cheerfully. "I'm out with the girls. We're getting drinks." Paul clenched his jaw. Sarah, the house is a mess, and I've been working all day. Oh, Paul, don't be such a buzzkill. You'll handle it. Love you. That night, Paul cleaned the entire house by himself, his frustration boiling over. When Sarah finally came home, he confronted her. Sarah, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of coming home to this mess every day. Something has to change. Sarah shrugged. You're overreacting. It's just housework. Paul's voice rose. It's not just housework, Sarah. It's about respect. I can't do this alone. But Sarah didn't seem to care. Desperate, Paul called Sarah's family, hoping they could help. Her mother and sisters came over, and the sight of the house left them speechless. Sarah, her mother exclaimed. What's wrong with you? This place is a pigsty. Sarah tried to laugh it off, but her mother wasn't amused. You can't live like this. What will people think? Paul thought the intervention would help, but it only brought temporary relief. Sarah cleaned up for a few days, but soon everything went back to the way it was. Months passed, and Paul's frustration grew. One evening, after another long day at work, he came home to find Sarah in her usual spot on the couch, surrounded by empty snack bags. The house was in complete disarray. Paul took a deep breath. Sarah, I've had enough. I want a divorce. Sarah's eyes widened. You're joking. I'm not. I've tried talking to you, getting your family involved, but nothing's changed. I can't live like this. For once, Sarah was silent. The divorce was messy, but Paul felt a weight lift from his shoulders once it was finalized. He moved into a small, tidy apartment where he finally found peace. Sarah, meanwhile, continued her glamorous public life, but her reputation in the neighborhood never recovered. Paul learned that love isn't just about appearances. It's about partnership and respect. And as for Sarah, she became a cautionary tale, a reminder that true beauty lies in the details, both seen and unseen.